They wake up and replay. They wake up and repeat. They wake up and reinforce. Most wake up and think the same thoughts. They feel the same emotions. They respond to the same triggers. And then they wonder why nothing changes. But you cannot receive the mate that you desire or the mate that you deserve with the same energy that you had with the last one, right? So
Yep.
you have to have that understanding of completely being ready. And this is what it's all about for me is getting you to the place where you are awake and you are ready. And in particularly in my space and in the field that I operate, I want you to be awake and ready to date.
All right, everyone. I'm excited for today's episode because we have my friend Regi Rodgers, and this guy's awesome. He's doing some really powerful stuff, and I can't wait for you to hear all about that. So, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, Nick, first of all, let me begin by saying I appreciate you allowing me to be on this platform with you and sharing the mic with you. This is exciting for me to share with you on your platform. I am C. Regi Rodgers, as you've already stated. I am a relationship coach, singles empowerment coach. My moniker is I give dating from an expanded conscious perspective. So I currently have a new book out. It's my fourth book, actually. It's called Awake and Ready to Date, but it's Awake and Ready to Date, dating from an expanded conscious perspective. So I've been operating in this space now for over a decade as a relationship coach, singles empowerment coach, and it's been a great journey. I've been able to counsel a lot of celebrities and just great people. So yes, I'm again. This has given afforded me to be able to be here to be with you. So I appreciate that.
And what led you up to this point where you're doing this?
Well, I put my first book out back in 2000, and I talked to men back then. And I used to be on a circuit called AIMS. AIMS stood for African American Male Empowerment Summit. I was a speaker on that circuit for years. And then in 2010, I was probably at the height of my career. I had done radio, TV, major television, and I was at the height. And so I was traveling around telling men how to live their best lives, give their best version of themselves, and show up with great energy. But then when I came home, I almost felt now like here I am, this public success, but I'm a private failure because my ex-wife said she wanted a divorce. I never even seen that coming, didn't know where that came from. So for me, that was like a huge punch in my chest. So I had to ask myself three questions. What did I do wrong? What could I have done differently? What won't I do moving forward? Those were the three questions that I had asked myself. And I journaled a lot. I journaled until I had maxed out of those three questions. What did I do wrong? What could I have done differently? What won't I do moving forward? Um, and then I started to read everything on dating and relationships. I wanted to know everything about dating and relationships. But as I was reading, I realized that most women were talking to women. Women were not getting it from a conscious male's perspective. And so I wanted to be that voice of reason to help women to some degree crack the Da Vinci Code. Because one of the things that you would hear consistently from women is, he doesn't talk to me. He never shares what's on his heart or what's in his mind because men are ego driven. And the reason a woman wanted a man to talk to her is because women are emotionally driven. So the ego and the emotions sometimes clash. And so I wanted to be able to share with women what men actually thought, what men actually wanted to say, but because they would not say it, it's because their ego sometimes stood in the way.
Yeah, yeah, and I know about a lot about what you're talking about. Men typically don't talk. They don't show their emotions or tell you how they're feeling or things like that. And a lot of that is how we were all raised. We're kind of raised that way. But I don't think that's the right way to be in a relationship. Like I think everybody should be able to be open and honest with each other.
It's called communication. Communication is paramount. It's tantamount because when you really get to the root of communication and conversing, you realize that this word communication comes from the word communion. And the word communion, as we know it, is typically something that is considered to be sacred. When you go to church, one of the things that they actually do is ask you to partake of these elements, but they ask you to examine yourself before you partake of these elements to see if you are worthy to take partake of the elements, because communion is what they call sacred. It's so sacred that when you realize that communion comes from two words, communion comes from common union. That's why it's so sacred, because they want you to create this oneness with your maker, your creator, to see where you stand in that relationship as you're getting ready to partake. Well, it's the same thing in a relationship. You have to see where you stand in the relationship so that you can kind of configure and then figure out, how do I find the common union, which is the common denominator, so that we find common ground. That's how you communicate. Communication is not a monologue. Communication is a dialogue. It's not just one person doing all the talking. It's two people sharing to discover what is the common denominator and then use that as the launching pad so that we create the common union. That's real communication. And most men don't communicate because, again, most men are ego driven. But then there are some women, even though women are emotionally driven, there's a word for women when we talk about the male being macho. There's a word for women called marinismo. That's the macho version for a woman. It's marinismo. Some women are macho driven, and even though women are emotionally driven, some women don't know how to communicate either. That's rare, but there are women that don't know how to communicate. So they find other means and methods to communicate. That's why some women use their body to show how much. And these other means, they find other means and methods. But the substratum of all relationships is self. That's the substratum of that's the basis of all relationships. You have to have a good you have to have a good relationship with yourself. So therefore, talk to yourself. Tell yourself how wonderful you are. Tell yourself how special you are. Tell yourself how beautiful you are. Tell yourself how unique you are. You have to have that relationship, because when you have that solid relationship with yourself and you can talk to yourself, then that allows you now to open up to talk with someone else. I always tell people so often, thoughts are the language of the mind, emotions are the language of the body. Thoughts are electric, emotions are magnetic. And so it's that electromagnetic magnetism that draws you. But oftentimes the thoughts and the emotions are on two different pages. That's why you can't
Mhm.
communicate. So there's this imbalance, there's this ambivalence, right? And so with this imbalance and this ambivalence, what we call that is incoherence. There's no coherency. Coherency means there's a harmony. When you're in harmony with yourself, then you're at this oneness, there's this peace. That's when you're able to communicate and have a level head.
I love that you're talking about that because I've had a couple communication coaches on the show, and nobody has ever talked about how you communicate with yourself. You gotta work on that first. The only person that has told me something like that is my mentor, Dr. Rob Kelly. He's told me that, and that's why he makes me stand in front of a mirror every morning and tell myself I love you. Every morning, I just say I love you 10 times to myself. And it's been made a big change in my life just by simply doing that. I do feel like I can open up more to other people because I'm comfortable with myself and I do actually love myself. And I think there's a lot of men out there that truly don't love themselves. And you know, all they have to do is take little steps to learn these techniques on how to love themselves, how to be more confident. And then they're going to see that any relationship that they have in their life, or whether that's family, friend, or a partner, it's going to get a lot better. This episode is sponsored by A Topic AI for Opportunity. A Topic is an AI-powered opportunity discovery platform, and the best word that I can describe it is ChatGPT. But instead of giving you information, it gives you real people you should be connecting with. Whether you're looking for clients, partners, investors, job prospects, or high intent leads, Topic makes it simple. You just type what you're looking for, and the AI thinks through thousands of signals, and then surfaces verified prospects with context, not random lists. It even helps you follow up, nurture conversations, and track your pipeline. What I love about Atopic and why I'm excited to have them as a sponsor is that they're solving the biggest problem in business growth, finding the right people at the right time. If you haven't yet, go to atopic.com and try it. It's one of the smartest tools out there for people trying to grow their business.
Here's the thing, Nick. I would not say that they don't love themselves. I think they love themselves to their capacity.
There
That's
you
the
go.
capacity to which they love themselves. They may not love themselves how you love yourself, but I wouldn't say that they don't love themselves because what most see most people have been trained by conditioning that says look outside for answers. That's how they've been
Mm,
trained. So that's the capacity of to how much or to how they love themselves. Because a lot of people have been raised to seek approval. A lot of people have been raised to earn love. A lot of people have been raised to prove their worth through performance. Again, that's their capacity. But the truth of the matter is, as long as you need something outside of you to complete you, you will never have the full capacity to love as you're saying. So people show love the way that they know, and that's the capacity of who they are, right? So what I'm saying is and that's what you're saying. When you start talking to yourself, what you do is you tap into the power that is inside of you. And so now you get it into that subconscious, and then once you get it into that subconscious begins to what we call mushroom and sprout into the conscious. Now you become very conscious, and then your conscious begins to expand. That's why I say dating from an expanded consciousness, because I want that to expand. I want you to begin to show up and show your best version of who you are. Why? Because you've now talked to yourself, and now you don't have to wait to become it. You are walking in it already. Even though it hasn't happened, you walk in it as if it's already happened. See, it's the feeling of having it. Once you have that
mhm,
feeling of having it, then it becomes you. And here's how this thing works, Nick. It's so beautiful because the journey to love has never been about finding the one. The journey to love has always been about becoming the one. You see, so
yep,
when you become it, it becomes you. You expand into it. And so whatever you think about, you bring about. Um, as a
for
man
sure.
thinketh, so you become. As whatever you wire, you fire, right? You want to get that thing fired. That's how you become wired. And so you have to have those conversations with yourself. That's so important.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And for the people listening, let's say it's a couple or just one person in a relationship, what would be like your number one tip to improve communication?
Uh, Turn your energy inward, observer of your thoughts. Become honest about your wounds. Teach yourself to no longer be addicted to the old version of you. That's where it's hard. That's where it takes discipline. And you have to create this regimen so that you're teaching yourself that you are no longer addicted to the old version of you because the old version of you didn't know how to communicate. The new version of you is a better communicator, right? The new version of you understands how to have a dialogue, and it's not a monologue. So you have to turn your energy inward and really become an observer of your thoughts so that you can honestly become honest about your wounds and teach yourself to no longer be addicted to the old version of you.
I like that answer a lot because, I'm a coach myself. I've been, coached by many others. A lot a lot of the, like, issues that we have or the things that kinda hold us back in life is because of something that happened when we're growing up, you know, childhood trauma. A lot of times, you don't even know what that trauma was that is affecting you today, and if you can explore that, talk to an expert and reveal that and start to heal it and, learn how to move past it and not let that control you anymore, your whole life will change because all the beliefs that you had about yourself that were negative, you usually go away a lot, you know? So I like that you're talking about that.
And, it's like most what you're saying is so powerful, Nick, because it's so true. Because most people are emotionally addicted to their past. And listen, they're emotionally addicted. So this addiction is to their past. That's why I entitled my book Awake and Ready to Date, because most people wake up feeling like yesterday. Um, uh, they wake up and replay. They wake up and repeat. They wake up and reinforce. Most wake up and think the same thoughts. They feel the same emotions. They respond to the same triggers, and then they wonder why nothing changes. But you cannot receive the mate that you desire or the mate that you deserve with the same energy that you had with the last one, right? So,
Yep.
um, you have to have that understanding, Nick, of completely being ready. And this is what it's all about for me, is getting you to the place where you are awake and you are ready. And in particularly in my space and in the field that I operate, I want you to be awake and ready to date. But you can apply these principles to life. You need to be awake and ready every day for what's gonna come your way that day. So you're present. You're in the present, and you're waking up with your best version of yourself, so that you operate in your higher good. So you're operating from a higher frequency. Um, and when you get to that higher frequency, you no longer look at life like you have to force things. It's not about force anymore. It's about frequency.
Yep. And one of my other mentors, you made me think of something. His name is Rob Dial. It's kind of funny. My two main mentors, they're both named Rob. But Rob Dial, he said one time that you have no obligation to be the person that you were yesterday. You can wake up every morning and decide who you're going to be. Are you going to be the person that your partner loves? Or are you going to be the person that they don't like? God, that's just a example. But I think it's so powerful because it's so true. What happened yesterday has nothing to do with today. We can change at any moment, become who we want to be. And it's not like it's going to happen overnight. You have to work at it and go through things and learn a lot, but you can start to make the change right now.
Change is, I know a lot of people have a different definitions of change, but this is how I define change. I define change as the universe preparing us for what it has already prepared for us. Think about that.
Mhm.
The universe preparing us for what it has already prepared for us. Prepared, past tense. Preparing us, present tense. So if it's a present tense, that means I wake up and I'm present to receive what has already been prepared for me in the past. It's just me now being present to get to what already belongs to me and what I should already have, right? Most people wake up, oh, I got to make it happen. You don't have to make anything happen. You just have to find the natural rhythm to what's already happening. Once you find that natural rhythm to what's already happening, then you discover that um we can constantly pray for something, but if the energy doesn't match what I'm asking for, I'll never receive it. So the energy must match what I'm asking for. And how does that work? I tap into to get out what is already prepared for me. I just got to tap into it. It's already mine. So I don't have to make it happen. I just have to be a part of what's already happening.
Well, I know that the listeners are, excited listening to you because they now understand that they can improve their communication, improve their relationships, improve their life in general. So, for the listeners that want to work with you, how do they do that?
Very easy. Yes, you can go to my website actually. It's just C, the letter C. Reggie has one G, one I. So it's REGIC, Reggie Rodgers. Rodgers has a D, RODGERS. So it's C, ReggieRodgers.com. There you get all my information there. You'll see my books. You'll see my coaching. You'll see my series. I have a series out for singles as well as couples called Dating and Creating, how to understand the 5 stages of dating. All of that's there on my site. So you can download that as well. So my site will give you all my information. And if you just want to follow me on social media, just see Reggie Rodgers, Facebook, see Reggie Rodgers, Instagram, um, and on my YouTube channel as well, see Reggie Rodgers.
Awesome. And then I gotta ask you, so my slogan is your abilities are infinite. What does that mean to you?
Limitless ability. To me, understanding who you are, understanding what you are, and understanding why you have what you have. All of us have been born with a creative genius inside of us. So all of us has the ability. We all have an ability. Once you tap into what your ability is, that becomes limitless. There's no limit to what you can be, do, and have. One of my mentors used to say, you can be, you can do, and you can have. You can be what you want, you can do what you want, and you can have what you want because it's limitless. So that's what it means to me. You can be, you can do, you can have, and it's limitless.
I think that is awesome. And my final question is something that I think is important because a good relationship and good communication starts at the beginning. So I think this question should be more towards guys because, you know, we're usually the, the ones that don't communicate the best. So for the guys out there that are dating, like they're looking for a partner, they're going on dates, what is like the biggest tip that you could give them for getting started?
Three tips, which three will be one, is know yourself. You must know yourself. Now, why the reason I say know yourself, that word know is a word of intimacy. So the word intimacy comes from two words in time. It takes time to really know yourself. So don't rush and go out there just because you feel like that's something you have to do because everybody else is doing it. No, make sure you know yourself because when you know yourself, you've become intimate with you. You've taken the time to really get to know yourself, right? So I would say one, know yourself. Um, I would say two, be true to yourself. Because once you get to know yourself, now you're going to be very particular about who you bring into your energetic space and who you will allow into what we call that sacred space of your vortex, right? So know yourself, be true to yourself. Um, when you are true to yourself, it is the truth that you know that has the ability to get you to that place of freedom. Freedom comes from two words: free and dominion. So when you know yourself and you're true to yourself, you operate from free, which is liberty, and you have dominion. You have a liberty to dominate now. Now you're operating in your true capacity of who you have been designed to be. So know yourself, be true to yourself. But then the last one I would say, love thyself. Because when you can do those first two, the capacity that we talked about earlier, how some people have a limited capacity, they do love themselves, but it's a very limited capacity. Now you're operating in that liberty, that space of freedom, again, that we talked about. So now you have that liberty to have the dominion, to really be who you've been created and designed to be. So you have to take time to do those three things: know thyself, be true to thyself, and love thyself.
I think that is an incredible answer, and I agree with you 100%. And I like that you said, like, you probably shouldn't date until you do those 3 things, because the the chances of it being, like, a true good relationship are a lot less than if you work on yourself first and then go out and find a partner.
Agree 100%, Nick. I totally agree. The basis of our relationships is self. And if you don't love
Mhm.
yourself, you're not going to love no one else. If you don't like yourself, you certainly not going to like no one else. So you have to get to that place where you have the greatest relationship with you and you love being you, and you realize nobody can beat you being you. Nobody has your fingerprint. Nobody walks like you, nobody talks like you. And if anybody's trying to be you, then they're duplicating, and they're not being the originators. You're the originator, they're the duplicators. That's why you got to love you.
Yep, and a lot of people think that they need a partner for them to be happy, and I think you gotta love yourself first. Like, once you love yourself, like, you don't need a partner. Your partner can be a bonus, and then, you can love them to the fullest.
Nick, you're right on, 100% spot on. It's a bonus. It accentuates, and then when it accentuates, you both elevate. And then again, it goes back to what we talked about, that dominion. When you both elevate, then you both can start to dominate and walk in your dominion. And it's a beautiful thing when you get a partner that you guys can walk in your dominion together. That's what we talk. It's limitless. The sky is the limit. Nothing can stop the two of you.
Yep, I think that's really powerful. And like for myself, I'm not dating right now. I'm not with anybody. And it's because I'm not the person that I'm going to be. I'm constantly growing, and I'm not who I want my future partner to be with yet. And I'm also pushing hard to build my business. And honestly, I don't need another distraction. Like I'm so focused on this. I don't want to take away from my business or my partner. So I'm waiting until the time's right, and then we'll get back into the game again.
Nick, I want to commend you though, if you don't mind. I just want to commend you. I think you're an incredible. Your story is incredible. I think you're an incredible person. I just think that what you do, what you're doing, what you've done, it's incredible. Your story is just amazing, and just you as an individual, um, that that ability that you have, like Nick, when you have this ability to network, and then when people come into your space, people are drawn to you. You have there's this dynamic energy that you operate from. When I met you, immediately, that we had that magnetic energy. So what I call that synergy, because you came from a place of good energy, and the energy and so we merged those energies and created that nice synergy. So I just wanted to commend you, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Your mate is there. She's out there. When you're ready, she's ready for you. But when you're ready, she's ready for you. And the universe is such a master choreographer, knows how to bring you guys together at the right time. So just keep doing what you're doing, and she's ready for you when you're ready for her.
Yep, exactly. Thank you so much for that. It really means a lot. That's I love to hear that because that's who I want to be. I want to be the person that anybody can get along with. I bring energy and just be a good person to everyone that I can.
Well, you're doing it, Nick. You really are. You're a what he calls a I'm looking for the word that he calls a world changer. You're a world changer.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. All right, man, this was so good. Thank you again for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, Nick. It's been fun, man. Let's do it again sometime very soon, okay?
Sounds good. If you enjoyed this show, please go ahead and share it anywhere else that you see fit. Because the only way that I can grow this is by you guys sharing it. I don't sell anything on here, so let's just get it out there by word of mouth, help more people. All right, everyone. Remember, your abilities are infinite.